All right. Yeah, very good. Put those in the chat. I love getting and going back and reviewing the notes in the chat, being able to see the takeaways, see what's landing, maybe see where the questions are, where we can bridge that gap between what the speaker said and what was heard, what was received. We dive into this next section here that's going to build on what I spoke about yesterday, and that's the journey of that's the journey of the steward. This my presentation today is called the Profitable Steward, or becoming a profitable steward. Again, you'll notice everything that we do. If this is, let's just do in the chat real quick a poll before I share my screen so I can see the chat. How many of you are here for this is your day one? Put a 1 in the chat. If you're here, this is your day 2, put a 2 in the chat. Just let me see if we had anybody that missed. I'm sure there's some first timers. I know there was some questions, people that saw the sign up. So most of you have been here before. Again, 1 in the chat if this is day 1. All right, Jake, welcome. I think that was you that's scrolling super fast. If it's day 2, put a 2. All right, 1.5, get it, missed some of that. Margot can share the link again in the chat with the replay. Don't worry about it. It's going to be going out to your text and to your email as well. So whether this is day 1 or day 2, welcome. We're grateful that you made the choice to be here. What was it that brought you here? Just answer that question in your heart right now. Was it, hey, there was something on an ad? Was it a fellow speaker? Was it God speaking to you? You know, Facebook has its algorithm, but I think God's intervention supersedes any of that. Sometimes the ads that I see and the connections that I make on the time that I spend on social media, I know that, hey, that was targeted not by an algorithm. That was because I needed to reach out to that. Specifically, 2 individuals that one of them is a sponsor or was on our last podcast, and that was Ranch Vision. And I really applaud the work that they're doing of being able to make regenerative agriculture economics easier to manage. We want to thank the sponsors for this event, and we want to thank the speakers that are here. We're grateful to Burke. We're grateful to Understanding Ag. We are grateful to our families that support us and our teams that are behind us that allow us to be here, to be present, to take notes, to participate, and to more fully engage. And I acknowledge each of you and the effort. This is a free event. You haven't got the invoice for it yet, right? The invoice is coming. Just kidding. But treat it like you paid $1,000. What was this information that we just heard from Burke worth? Is that not worth tens of thousands of dollars in not only the changes we can make in management right now, but throughout successive generations? If we set the trajectory, how much value is that? So treat it this time like, hey, I paid $1,000 to be here. Because really that is a minuscule minuscule dollar amount compared to the value that you can gain, especially over the lifetime and the legacy of your operation. So as we dive into this next section, what does stewardship mean to you? Each of us has a definition. We heard almost every podcast speaker, I will ask for their definition of stewardship. What does it mean? To abbreviate mine, it's the sacred responsibility that God gives us over his creations. And at some point we will return and give an accounting over that stewardship. We will be responsible for how we steward the land, the livestock, his creations, our own bodies, our relationship with our family members, our children, and even great-great-great-great-grandchildren in generations to come. So becoming a profitable steward. And today, this is my intention for today, this is my intention for this summit, is that you will clearly know your next step on your regenerative journey. Hey, if you get done with this and you're like, I got what I need to, plug into whatever speaker it is that you feel called to follow. Maybe it's us at AgSteward. We've given you the opportunity to join the next step, and I'll remind you of that at the end of the presentation. Maybe it's Understanding Ag. Maybe it's reaching out to Steve Campbell or one of the other speakers that's going to follow today. And you know what? I give you permission. Unsubscribe from everything that we do at AgSteward. If you feel like my guru, my person, my guide on this journey is another person. Don't be distracted. Single in. I think right now more than ever, we need to focus. I've heard that word from other people, and that's my word for the year is focus. And literally unsubscribe. Literally say no to those things that are distracting you. Again, my intention is that you will have clarity, the confidence, the conviction, the courage to act on what your next step is in your regenerative journey. Clear enough? We good with that? So with that, this little presentation here is for you if you're willing to change, if you're committed to regeneration, if you want to be profitable, if you want to have a focus on stewardship. Somebody asked on social media, it was forwarded to me, hey, you didn't talk about anything about not using pesticides yesterday or about changing up, practices that way of eliminating pesticides. Well, Don Huber did an excellent job at our last summit about talking about the negative effects and side effects of pesticides. So we absolutely discourage their use, but can we be regenerative and still till the land? That's heresy, right? Can we be regenerative and not move our cows twice a week? Can we be regenerative and still spot spray weeds? I don't want to follow those practices, but if they're necessary to get us to the end result, then absolutely, that still is regenerative, and we can quantify that. That's why I like the non-prescriptive approach to the regenerative labels that are out branded. What am I trying to say? Certifications, the regenerative certifications, like with the Savory Institute. It's not prescriptive, and Regenified, I'm not as familiar with. You can still be regenerative if you're meeting the benchmarks and you're doing some of those practices. It's a step in that direction. So if you have these things, now that we've further identified what regeneration is, and you want to be profitable, not just profitable from an economic standpoint, but be profitable in every way with our families, having work-life balance, and you're focused on stewardship, then this is for you. This is not for people, hobby farmers, backyard gardeners. We love you. We're grateful that you're here. If you're here, you will get steps. Stay tuned in. But really, if the next step with AgSteward, we're looking for people who are doing it at scale or are able to scale within the next 12 to 18 months to make it a full-time business. Does that make sense? So in other words, if it's a lot of times, even what we consider a full-time business is really an expensive hobby because we're subsidizing it with off-farm jobs. What do I mean? That means that you have the ability to get to 100K US dollars, 100,000 US dollars is what it takes in gross sales, sometimes more than that, to replace your off-farm income. Talked about this yesterday. If you're on day one, or if this is your day one, this is a little bit about me. Been blessed with such amazing mentors, wonderful people to work with, to learn from, to rub shoulders with, and like Burke said, this is my opportunity, and I consider it a responsibility and a privilege to be able to share the knowledge that I've gained and to utilize the gifts that I've been given to provide a place where people can collaborate together. I realized one of my gifts is a connector. And a lot of times I don't know why I needed to know this person or this person. But usually if somebody has a problem or a challenge, there will be 2 to 3 people that will come to mind or opportunities that they can plug into to act on that opportunity or resolve the challenge that they have. Okay, so you might be wondering, you heard from some of the others at the beginning who have been through our programs. Matt Sullivan was great. He came, he attended the summit, he went to the 2-day class, and I actually mentored him and his wife in their transition from one property to another in California. Matt said, really impressed with the community AgSteward has brought together and everyone's collective enthusiasm and support for regenerative agriculture and adapting to the future. So thank you, Matt. He was more on the startup scale, just phasing into a full-time business. And you heard from Donnie and Tricia, who are on the other end of the scale. So, just, can ranching be fun? Can it be profitable? Can it be regenerative? We absolutely believe that it can. Imagine how that can look like for you, for your business, whether you're just starting out or whether you're multi-generational like I am. And really the question is, how can we be a profitable steward now? Not someday in the future, not a wish, but what are the steps that we need to take to do that now? So this Profitable Steward workshop, this next step with AgSteward, is really to help empower ranchers and farmers to be regenerative and to be profitable, to marry those two ideas and say that they're not mutually exclusive. We don't have to sacrifice one to do the other. They actually do go hand in hand, and they need to go hand in hand. So our journey started out actually before this, but the journey my wife and I started was July 17th, 1996, when we got married in the Salt Lake Temple. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Faith is a big part of what we do. And we started our family. We both came from large families. We had the goal to raise a large family. And so I think our goal was 8 children, what we talked about. We actually had a 9th, and his name was Jonas, so we call him Bonus Jonas. And he's Jonas. The meaning of the word Jonas is God's gift, and he definitely was a gift to us. So he's our last. Justin would be our oldest. He's now 27, just celebrated his 27th birthday. And Jonas, our youngest, is age 7, going to be 8 this year. So almost a 20-year spread from top to bottom. 6 boys, 3 girls, and we're very blessed to have that legacy. And that's when we started out, we thought, cool, this is awesome. Dad's given us this opportunity to be able to steward and continue this legacy. And then we began to face the D's. Anybody relate to these? Anybody have any of these D's in their life? For us, it was mounting debt. We were facing a pretty extensive drought situation. I went through, as I mentioned yesterday, depression. That was a deep, dark place for me. Discouragement, like, holy cow, is this going to die on our watch? Especially when we opened up the mailbox and got that foreclosure notice. And decisions that I didn't feel competent or confident to make. And I realized that, holy cow, I needed some help. And while I had a lot of mentors around me, a lot of good people, I had a support group, my connection with heaven, with God was good. There were some things that I didn't know. I came face to face with some realities that, like, my ignorance was huge. It was tough to get past that. So this program of what we're doing here in AgSteward is really what I needed and what I see other people need. And I'm a multi-generational rancher. Those that are starting out, that are generation 0, like we talked about yesterday, or first generation, or 5th, 6th, I think we had up to 6th generation yesterday represented. It's what I needed as a generational rancher. It's what we found out and helped startups to do. And I still do need it. There are aspects of this. Why do I put on these summits? Pull back the curtain. And we need this information. We need this community as much as anybody. So you get to learn from my 25 plus years of experience in investing thousands of dollars and paying a high tuition to the School of Hard Knocks, learning things the hard way. Because you're here today, you get to glean from some of that and learn. And not only from my experience, but from the other speakers as well that are here, and build on that. So as I looked at, okay, I like to make things simple. What are the 3 secrets of profitable stewardship? And we'll go through these really quick. There's other trainings that I have where I elaborate on this, but first and foremost, everyone is a steward. And a quick story about that is when I was 15 years old, we were trailing cattle from our winter range to our summer range. As baby calves, we calved in March and April, and one of those calves got tired. We were a long ways from where the pickup was, and so I thought, okay, I'll just leave this calf behind. We'll take everything else, and we'll come back with the pickup, and we'll find it. Well, I went back with my grandpa, and we couldn't find the calf. And on these big sagebrush flats, you think you have landmarks that you can go back to, and I couldn't find that landmark. The calf wasn't where I thought he was. So I went back, got my horse, and trotted back, and I was just praying this whole time. I got to find this calf. I got to find this calf. Grandpa's going to kill me if I don't find this calf. Because they let me know how stupid I was because I didn't tie the thing down. He's like, if you'd have just tied it down and left it in the road, Jared, it'd still be there and you wouldn't have to go look for it. It's like, well, but anyway, lesson learned. And I prayed the whole time, help me find this calf. I was able to find it. It would moved a little bit and laid underneath sagebrush, just like its mom told it to do. And I loaded it up. God cares about the one. He cares about everyone, and everyone is a steward. The second principle, stewardship is greater than ownership. It was interesting, and I'll share the results. I'm going to run the poll again here, probably right when I'm done. But profitability and land acquisition were the two biggest concerns. And we talked about that yesterday. You don't have to own it to steward it. My dad was a great example of that when he was called to serve 3 years in Mexico for our church. I went and visited him in Guadalajara, and he had a very small backyard, not smaller than this room that I'm in right now. So I don't know, less than 100 square feet. And he was out gardening there. He was watering his lawn. He was caring for it. A decade earlier, he was caring for over 500,000 acres, 500,000 acres, and stewarding it just as meticulously as he did that small acreage. You don't have to own it to steward it. And the third principle is you must give to receive. And I'm going to skip through these in the interest of time. And we're going to skip to this one. True stewards know that giving first creates abundance. Recently, in consulting with a young couple from Australia, and they've had some amazing goals, and they're working towards those goals, but they just couldn't quite get the financial goals that they were setting. And as you will learn as you hang around me and AgSteward, we don't only look at the external things, we look at the internal things. And God inspired me to say and to teach this principle, the give and receive cycle. They were giving a lot, but they weren't able to receive. And I said, how are you doing at receiving compliments? And the wife teared up and she started to cry and show some emotion. She says, I can't. He's like, I don't think I'm worthy of them. And I said, how is God going to bless you with your profit goal if you're not able to receive? So my challenge for each of you is there's things have got to be in balance. In nature, they're in balance. Oftentimes our giving is more than our receiving, most of the time for most people. But there's an opportunity I'm going to give to prime the pump. And if you're finding that your receiving needs more help, ask for compliments. No kidding. Like, I've done this before because I've realized that I needed to. I asked 3 or 4 people, tell me what you like about me. That seems crazy, dumb, hard, uncomfortable. Why did I do it? Because I needed to go first and show that. And it was not, they graciously, gratefully complimented me. And I'm like, wow, you really see that in me? And it was hard to receive it, but I did. So that's what you can do on the receive side. If you need to give to prime the pump, a great organization that I give to, that I invite you to give to, is an organization that develops water throughout the world. They developed a cool man-powered drill that can create boreholes a lot less inexpensively, a lot more inexpensively, and in remote areas. And so this is, take a screenshot of this. Their overhead costs are minimal because it's donated. I love what their mission is, to be able to provide clean water, something that my dad and my grandpa and now we have done. Piping water for livestock, these guys are providing clean water. So if you're finding that the give side, pick this organization, pick an organization that you're passionate about. So there's the QR code. You can text that 40144 to AgSteward, and it's called the Village Drill and Who Lives. Who Lives is their nonprofit side of it. So just to recap, the 3 secrets of profitable stewardship. Everyone is a steward. You are a steward. Stewardship is greater than ownership. We don't have to own to be a steward. And sometimes it's not synonymous. Ownership is not synonymous with stewardship. I'm guilty of sometimes owning things and not stewarding them well, and having those things taken from me, losing those things because of my neglect, just like in the parable of the steward in the Bible. And the last one is you must give to receive. So where are you at? And these are just 3. These are the ones that, of the several principles that we teach at AgSteward, these are the ones that I felt were the most applicable for where we're at as a society today, for where this group is at in this summit going into 2025. It's what I felt inspired to share. Which one do you need to emphasize the most? Go ahead and put that down in your journal. Put it in the chat if you want to. Let others hold you accountable. Is it number 1? Do you need to focus on that you are a steward, no matter what? Take everything away. You wake up tomorrow, eminent domain, whatever happens, fire, flood, you own nothing. Are you still a steward? Absolutely, because you steward your decisions. You steward your agency. Even take the clothes off your back, you are still a steward. Everyone is a steward. Stewardship is greater than ownership. Are you finding that there are things in your life that you are not stewarding well? And maybe some of those things are kind of slipping through your fingers, like trying to hold the sand. Well, maybe it's that you need to strengthen this principle. Or is it the give or the receive? It's the yin and the yang. It's the circle. There's not a beginning, there's not an end. It's a continuum. But if that circle, if all is give, and no receive, we've broken that cycle. And just like broken cycles in nature that we'll talk about later, things don't function. There's not rhythm. There's not flow. There's not continuity. Which is the one that you need to focus on? So let me ask you a question. Now that you know what you need to focus on, what is your next step? What is your next step? Is it clear? Or do you have clarity on what your next step is? And if you don't, it's okay. But just take a second and write that down. Pull out your journal, pull out your phone, open up a new tab on your browser. This is the one time where I'm giving you permission to be distracted. It's not distractive, it's purposeful. What is your next step? Is everybody getting something? Sometimes it comes to our head, sometimes it comes to our heart. But ask the question, what is my next step? Write it down. Commit to take action. Progress is rewarded. It's not about the accomplishment, as we talked about yesterday. It's more about the progress. It's about the direction. It's about the trajectory. And so can I share again what it looks like to work with AgSteward? This is the class. Margot, if you'll drop the link in the chat. We talked about the logistics of it. We talked about who it's for. For many of you, this is the next step. So what does that look like? It looks like signing up, showing up, realizing that you're not on this journey alone, realizing that the rugged individualist, that mountain man that was talked about yesterday, oftentimes they didn't get their books published because they didn't live long enough. It was the pioneers who had a community around them. They had a guide to lead them. They had the resources that they needed. They had the encouragement and the support. They were the ones who had the higher likelihood of reaching their destination, being able to narrate and go back and write those journals and share what their journey was like, publish those books because they got there. So be the pioneer. Don't be the rugged individualist. Don't be the mountain man. So that's my invitation to you. Another testimonial here from one of the past attendees, Ed Mason. He's actually from up north. Anybody from Canada here? Ed says, I just finished the Profitable Steward program organized by Jared Sorensen at AgSteward. Wow, 2 information-packed days designed to help me build a solid foundation for my personal and ranching activities. Jared is one of the best facilitators / presenters I have ever listened to. His holistic Christian approach to being an ag steward and ag stewardship was inspiring and uplifting. If you ever have the opportunity to listen or to interact with Jared, don't pass it up. So thanks, Ed, rancher from up north. We appreciate that. So if all this did for you was give you clarity on your next step, would it be worth it? If there's still some fuzziness, like you don't exactly know what that next step is, if it helped you create a solid business plan, how many of us go into business with hope instead of a plan? If it gave you accountability and support to reach your regenerative goals, would it be worth it? So really, I had 2 options, and that was to continue to work hard and leave success to a chance, or find mentors, enroll in those classes, invest in my education, and leverage the skills and expertise of experts and proven systems to be able to ensure that I was successful. And I'll ask you the question, what's the cost of doing nothing? Sometimes we sit there stuck for hours wondering, I wonder who's going to save us, what's going to help us. What's the cost of inaction? So that's my invitation to you. Go to the registration page, sign up, show up, block those dates out on your calendar, be ready to learn, because really the question is, are you going to leave your legacy, your future, the future of your farm and ranch, of your family, of your posterity to chance? Or are you willing to take the steps to become a profitable steward, to step into stewardship? Do you realize that, are you realizing through this experience that God has called you to do more, to be more engaged as a steward, to be more attentive to those things that you have stewardship over, including your mind, your body, your family, your relationships? And as mentioned, because you're on the summit here, exclusively, you will have the bonus session with Burke. So if you sign up, but you've got to do it before the summit ends, I encourage you to do it now versus waiting. Sign up before the summit ends, because that bonus session is at 4:30. So again, take action. Go to the link, register, because really your future, the future of your family and future generations depends on it. We want to serve you at AgSteward. It's a privilege to be here to facilitate this group. It's an honor to serve with so many wonderful people, and we look forward to seeing you on the next step on your regenerative journey.